Good afternoon, James Preston with you. Great to have your company for News Beyond Markets, a special show that will get you all the news that matters for the day. With the Euro final decided in dramatic fashion today, we are focusing squarely on sport. But before we kick off, let's begin by checking out the latest on the pandemic front. The Delta variant of the coronavirus has now become a serious cause of concern across Australia, with the caseload rising daily. New South Wales reported 112 locally acquired cases of COVID-19. This is the biggest daily rise in New South Wales for the year so far. Of the 112 cases reported, at least 34 spent time in the community while infectious. New infections have been rising daily despite the city entering lockdown more than 2 weeks ago. New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian flagged the expectation that the lockdown would be extended beyond the planned end date of July 16. Lockdown measures were toughened over the weekend, restricting residents to within 10 kilometres of their home for exercise. Outdoor gatherings have also been limited to 2 people, and only 1 person in a household can leave the home each day for buying essentials. To date, a woman in her 90s became the first person to die from community-based infection this year. Meanwhile, total infections in the outbreak, which began in mid-June, are nearing 600. Almost 50 people have been hospitalised, which is a rate of 1 in 8 of those infected. The nation has previously successfully suppressed sporadic flare-ups of infections through snap lockdowns, speedy contact tracing and tough social distancing rules. The nation has reported a total of around 31,200 cases and 911 deaths since the pandemic began. It's fared far better than many other developed economies. However, the highly transmissible Delta strain and a sluggish vaccine rollout have stoked concerns of a significant outbreak. Only around 11% of Australia's adult population of just over 20.5 million people have been fully vaccinated so far. Turning our attention now to sport, and it's not coming home, instead it's coming to Rome as Italy claimed the Euro 2020 trophy after a dramatic penalty shootout. The victory is Italy's first Euro win since 1968. Italy beat England 3-2 on penalties after the match ended 1-1 following an extra time period to secure their second European Championship title. Luke Shaw scored in the second minute to give England the lead against Italy in the Euro 2020 final at Wembley. It was the fastest ever goal in a European final, but Italy goalkeeper Gianluigi Donnarumma was the hero for the Azzurri in the shootout. Donnarumma saved 2 England penalties en route to a 3-2 shootout, with the teams fighting out a hard-fought 1-1 draw, resulting in extra time and then penalties. It was the first final to be decided on penalties since Czechoslovakia beat West Germany in 1976. The win will be widely celebrated in Italy after they lost the final in 2000 and also 2012. A drought-breaking victory for Italy, and for England, Sweet Caroline is on pause. Let's now take the opportunity ourselves to press pause for just a moment, and after a short break, there's more major sporting news, including a historic victory for Australia's Ash Barty at Wimbledon.
Hi, this is Andy Lou broadcasting from Kalkine Media Studio in Australia, and I'll be hosting the new Kalkine Wellness Show. The half-hour show will cover topics from how wellness as a concept has become even more significant during COVID, to how becoming vegan may improve your health, and much more. We are excited to showcase our live streaming show to our audience of millions overseas and in Australia. Tune in to Kalkine TV and join me.
Thanks for sticking with us on Kalkine TV. James Preston with you for News Beyond Markets, a show where we bring you all the important news beyond the world of finance. And today's show is a sports bonanza. Let's start with difficult times for the NRL. The Australian Rugby League Commission, or the ARLC, has announced that 12 National Rugby League clubs will relocate to 3 Queensland hubs for at least 1 month to ensure the competition continues. 9 teams from Sydney, along with the Canberra Raiders, Newcastle Knights and New Zealand Warriors, will all move to southeast Queensland amidst concerns about the number of COVID-19 cases in Sydney. The remaining NRL teams, 3 from Queensland and also the Melbourne Storm, will continue to be based in their respective home cities. The plans are awaiting final approval from the Queensland Government. Each team's bubble will include a combined 41 players and staff, with family members also able to join after 14 days of quarantine on arrival in Queensland. Players will remain under the same biosecurity restrictions enforced by the NRL last month, limiting their movements to games, training and then essential household tasks for at least 2 weeks. The ARLC chairman Peter V'landys said that the Commission has conducted an extensive risk assessment, and it is clear from the current data trends that the risk for the competition to continue playing out of New South Wales is too great for now. From Queensland to England, and Australian great Yvonne Goolagong-Cawley has said that Ash Barty's Wimbledon win on Saturday made her more emotional than her own triumph on the grass court more than 50 years ago. Barty was a woman on a mission at Wimbledon this year and emulated Goolagong, with whom she shares Indigenous Australian heritage, by beating Carolina Pliskova 6-3, 6-4, 6-3 in the final. 6-3, 6-7, 6-3 in the final. Goolagong-Cawley said it was amazing that Barty claimed her first Grand Slam title at the French Open in 2019, the venue of her own maiden major in 1971. Like much of Australia, former professional Casey Delacroix stayed up into the early hours to watch Barty beat Pliskova. Barty's triumph was lauded by a who's who of Australians on social media, ranging from tennis great Rod Laver's congratulations to also pop star Kylie Minogue, and indeed Kathy Freeman, whose gold medal run at the 2000 Olympics is widely regarded as the seminal moment in Australia's relationship with its Indigenous community. She also tweeted a massive pride in her fellow Aboriginal athlete. Barty's triumph came on the 50th anniversary of Goolagong's first Wimbledon title. Former French Open champion Barty was already one of Australia's most beloved athletes, and now it seems like her star status will climb to the next gear. It's great to see that the Barty party has well and truly begun. She's not the only history maker at Wimbledon this year. We'll turn our attention to the men's draw shortly after the break on News Beyond Markets. Tune in to get the latest information.
Whether it's about market movements or the currency graph,
sectoral coverage or industry news,
we cover it all on our news segments.
Be on top of the latest news
with Kalkine TV.
Welcome back to Kalkine TV. I'm James Preston, and this is a very special sports edition of News Beyond Markets. And the calls for Novak Djokovic as the greatest player in the modern era are now loudening after he claimed a record-equaling 20th Grand Slam title by defeating Italian Matteo Berrettini in the Wimbledon final on Sunday. The 34-year-old Serb has put together a sensational year by adding a 6th Wimbledon title to his 2nd French Open that he already won last month and his 9th Australian crown that he earned back in February. The latest victory now places him alongside Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal at the top of the list of the men's Grand Slam winners. Djokovic is the only one of the Golden Trio to win every Grand Slam title at least twice, and he is the first player since Rod Laver in 1969 to win the year's first 3 Grand Slams. If Djokovic can win his 4th Grand Slam of the year, the US Open, he'll then match Laver's calendar year slam of 1969 that has since proven to be beyond the greats of Federer and Nadal to date. He also holds the record for the most weeks ranked at number 1 on the ATP ranking circuit, 328, and counting after surpassing Federer's mark of 310 weeks back in March. Incredibly, when Djokovic won his 2nd Grand Slam title in 2011, Federer had already claimed 16 and Nadal 9. The relentless Serb said it was not until a few years ago that he thought he might be able to challenge their duopoly. Now, call me biased, but I'm still pulling for the Swiss Maestro to add a few more Grand Slams before he hangs up the racket. But that is all we've got for News Beyond Markets. Hope you enjoyed the special sports edition of the show. Stay tuned for more live market updates from Kalkine TV. I'm James Preston.